And there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first pre-season race for the Interservice Formula 1 Championship. It's myself, Wrenchy, hosting, and we're going to be going through sort of a practice session kind of deal to make sure that the software and all that's working nicely. So we're going to jump in to the first race today, and we are starting at Monza. So as you can see on the track layout there, looking at the Temple of Speed. Straight through, 11 corners, 5.7 kilometres, 2 DRS straights, one up towards Ascari and one down the main straight towards turn 1. I'm going to jump over now as they're going through a practice session. Just going to load in there. We go. Hopefully all of the sound and stuff is working. This is the first time I've streamed in a very, very long time. So fingers crossed everything is working. Only got 10 drivers today. We've got 5 from the Royal Air Force, which are Jack Lemon MD, Full Damage Queen, YB Orthodox, George BL and Atomic Tristan, with 5 from the British Army of Phoenix, Proven 54, Dangerous Dodo, Rosa and Mitchell 14. So team split for this season are Mercedes, Aston Martin and Alpine to the Royal Air Force. The British Army will be taking on Ferrari, McLaren and Williams, and the Royal Navy will be taking on Red Bull, Kicksauber and Haas. So there we go, that's just them getting through that session now. Just going to make sure that my audio systems are working fine, which they are. Good. Cool, so hopefully as we continue through, should get some sound quality, fingers crossed. Nothing else is being picked up, which is fantastic. Oh, it's been a long time since I've streamed. I do apologise. Hopefully for next week we should have a commentator for round 1, fingers crossed, alongside myself. Hopefully, if not, it'll just be me. And we'll hopefully try and get the drivers in throughout, maybe after a qualifying session between qualifying and race, if possible. If not, it'll just be straight through my voice until the end. So, let's see who goes out first on track so we can get a little onboard lap. Oh, silence falls over the pit lane. Still waiting on somebody to leave. I don't think we'll be seeing anybody from the RAF or the British Army leaving the pits at any time soon. And there we go, that is the first driver leaving the pits. Cannot clock who that is yet. So as soon as it flashes to outlap, we'll jump on board. Believe that's the McLaren. Oh no, it is George out on track. So we'll jump on board with George as we go through. Yeah, we'll keep it on board. Throw some tyres up. Keep the telemetry hidden, don't want to be giving away anybody's setups or anything like that. So we'll run this as we go through. Just looking at it now as we come into Lesmo 1. Keeping it nice, controlled through there. Going through Lesmo 2 now, as he's setting up ready for a outlap, or a hot lap I should say. Jump on board with next car out, which is Full Damage Queen, followed by Mitchell from the British Army, a new name, haven't seen before. Leading the way with Phoenix, who is 2-time champion and overall, well, winner for the last few years since getting involved. Just going to turn up the audio a little bit. Hopefully that's a bit better for those on board. There we go. Hopefully that should be a bit better. There we go. Just had to mention in the Discords. Let's have a look. Stuck on. Ah, that's fine. That's fine, that's fine. So, as we go through, George has just started his hot lap now. Join him through Curva Grande as we continue. Looking at a reasonable sector, about 26, 27, 26.2 through the first sector. So not lighting the world on fire, but not slow by any means. We'll have to see what other drivers pull out as we continue. He comes through Lesmo 1 now, following one of the Aston Martins. Royal Air Force driver YB Orthodox on board there. He's going to get a lovely tow down the straight. Or he would if YB Orthodox helped him out. Two more drivers out the way as we continue down towards Ascari. 53.008 through the middle sector. It's on for a decent lap here, George. Keeps pushing through. It's coming up to Parabolica now. Through Parabolica, George managed to hold on pretty well through there. For a first lap out on track, we're going to be seeing a 1:19. 1:19.7 set by George for lap number 1. We'll jump on board with FDQ as she continues through on her hot lap towards Ascari. Jumping the curve nicely through there. Keeping the push up. Just going to get the track map up as well, just so we can keep an eye on everything. And that's a 1:19.3 by Mitchell. Wow, wow. Mitchell coming out strong for his first showing for the Army. Here we go. Now here's a man we do need to watch. And I'm going to jump on board as all the times are being set. We get a 1:21 for full damage. Phoenix. So Phoenix is a two-time inter-service champion for the British Army and took the crown off of the Royal Air Force driver Jack Lemon MD. And since then has been pretty untouchable, with the majority of race wins at inter-service level being shared between himself and Dodo. So hopefully, as we continue, we should see somebody sort of take that crown away from Phoenix. Not that I want it, being Royal Air Force and biased, but it would be good to see someone putting a good challenge to Phoenix at a later date. Here we go, we're going to keep on board a 52.1 through the middle sector as he rides through Sky, very clean, and continues on up towards Parabolica now. He's got the two McLarens, his teammates Proven and Dodo, behind him as they continue through the final corner. Hopefully gets a good run out of there. That is a solid run out of there. Phoenix is going to be setting the benchmark by the looks of it of a 1:18.5, clearing the top by over 0.8. Wonder if anyone within the Royal Air Force has got a reply for this. And Dodo and Proven both jumping on for their laps as Jack Lemon has just left the pits on his out lap to see if he's got what it takes to put the fight to Phoenix. It's been a long time since they've all shared the track as well. The last Interservices competition taking place in 2023. So hopefully there's no bad blood still and we can continue as normal as such. But we'll continue on board now as we ride through the second Lesmo on board with Dodo as he's pushing now, opening the DRS and heading down towards Ascari under the bridge at full speed. We're looking at a 52.4 as he goes through, so it looks like he's matching Phoenix. A little bit unstable through Ascari, getting a wobble off the curb as he continues towards the Parabolica now. Luckily managing to keep it stable. We'll go through this corner and we'll jump off board and start seeing if any other cars are going to go for push laps. As he crosses the line, he sets a 1:18.8. So clearly the British Army not playing around when it comes to drivers involved as we jump off board. There we go. And we'll take a look through, see if anybody's on a fast lap as Proven sets a 19.3. And I missed it, Rosa Sky with a 19.5. So almost the top 5 drivers being British Army, with YB Orthodox splitting them at a 1:19.3. Jack Lemon crosses the line with a 1:19.4. And we're going to hit the lull point now, so we're going to hit the quiet. between runs as everybody's coming into the pits. We've got Mitchell back on an outlap actually, alongside FDQ. So we'll follow along with Mitchell as he heads towards Parabolica. He's got one of the Ferraris behind him, of Rosa by the looks of it. As he continues on for his lap. Let's see what he's got now. 1:19.330 is his current time as he begins his next flying lap. Good braking through turn 1 and 2, keeping good control of the car as he moves down towards Curva Grande. He's going to be heading full flat out through here towards the next chicane that I can never remember the name of, but I know it's before Lesmo 1 and 2. He's 2/10 up on his previous time as he's continuing to push. It looks like he's going to break into the 18s alongside two of his counterparts, Dodo and Phoenix. So he keeps pushing very nice through there as he comes up to Lesmo 2 now. Absolutely nothing on the car. It is completely planted as he's heading round. Coming under the bridge now. Goes for a 51, 52, 2.5 up on his previous time. And still gaining. He's got time to find. He comes out of Ascari, down the back straight towards Parabolica. I believe they've renamed the Parabolic corner, but it'll always be known as Parabolica. As he heads through now, keeps the car nice and planted, opts for the tighter line to save time towards the finish line, and as he crosses the line, he sets a 1:19.007, 3/10 up on his previous. Wow. As I said, the British Army have come out swinging with this, with Proven and Rosa coming out now, seeing what they can offer. We'll jump on board with Full Damage Queen as she heads towards... Well, we've joined at the perfect time. Sadly, she's 1.3 seconds down, so I believe she's encountered an issue throughout the lap, so we'll let her continue on as we follow on board with Tristan. He's making his way around to start his next hot lap. Got Phoenix back out again, so clearly not satisfied with an 18.5 for his time. What we'll do is we'll keep it on the gap to the leader. There we go, and we have the 6th Royal Air Force driver joining now in the Asset. As he makes his way onto circuit. Hopefully he can get out in time to get at least a lap in and see how he stacks up against the British Army drivers. But we'll see how Tristan does in the meantime. So Tristan's going to be making his way towards turn 1 and 2 now. We'll see how this goes through here. Sweeping left and right. Or right and left, I should say. I know which way my lefts and rights are. He's heading down towards... Oh, we've got a bit of a yellow flag. No idea where that's popped up. I think that's just somebody letting drivers past us. Tristan is 1/10 up off his previous time. Current field spread's looking good with 1.3 seconds between... Or sorry, I should say 3 seconds between the slowest to the quickest driver. As Tristan continues to make his way through now. We'll jump on board. We'll let him continue his lap as we jump on board with Rosa as he starts his next one, a 1:19.5. Just under 1 second off his teammate and Force's driver, Phoenix. He's 3.5 up through the first sector. He is looking for a good lap as he's continuing to push. We haven't really seen what's normal of the British Army pairing of Phoenix and Dodo. In previous years, at least, it's been a case of Phoenix and Dodo disappear off into the distance and everybody else is left to fight for scraps. So hopefully, this year, new game, new physics, we can change that up and have somebody else fighting for the lead. But I wouldn't be surprised if Phoenix and Dodo are still the ones that take this to the checkered flag. Just one of the two. Phoenix is GOAT. Yes, he is. There's not many people who can say they've beaten him in this league. In fact, there's only one person, and even then, I don't like to say it because it was a one-off thing and it was more luck than judgment. But Phoenix is the best driver in the British Army. Not by much, but he is the best driver in the British Army and probably one of the best drivers in the armed forces as a whole. So it will take some serious talent to beat that. And as we see Rosa across the line, it looked like we'll just quickly check what that time was. A 1:19.5 4. So a slight improvement. Phoenix, once again, there you go. Just as I'm talking about the man, he goes and puts a 1:18.1 in. It's almost as if he knew. But there we go. There's 8/10ths between the top 2 drivers at this point, and I guarantee there's even more time to find there. But can't count anyone out. There is still a race after this, as we see George coming into the pits. Asset is now out on an outlap. Dodo's looking to push. Looks like he's gone purple through 1. Oh, he's gone a bit wide there through Ascari. I don't think that lap's going to count. Actually, we'll jump on board with the Asset while I talk for a bit. So Asset is a Royal Air Force driver, as you can see, driving the Aston Martin, who's in recent years gone from being a Air Force midfield driver to one of the front 3. Sadly, the others can't be here today because of work commitments and things like that, but he is one of the front 3 drivers within the RAF and has proven that race in, race out, consistently getting podiums. I believe he's not far off a race win, or he's tried a race win or 2. He goes through the first sector there, 26.007. All bit of gravel through there as he exits the chicane. It's going to set him up poorly for Lesmo 1. Runs a bit wide and invalidates, sadly, so not to be for Asset this time round. We'll let him finish his lap in peace. And we'll jump on board with Mitchell, who's just under a 10th down on his previous time. He's again heading through Lesmo 1, keeps it on track. I must say that the setup cadre that the Army are running this year are very well planted. I know the Royal Air Force, thanks to our lovely friends over at Sim Racing Centre, are running those setups alongside a few alterations made by some drivers just because makes it easier for them to drive the car, but overall they are based off of the Sim Racing Centre setup, so big shout out to them and thank you for that. As we see Mitchell coming down the back straight to Parabolica. He's going to get a lovely little toe off Asset here. I believe that's Asset. Yes, it is Asset. He's going to get a lovely little toe off Asset as Asset starts his next flying lap. And Mitchell crosses line P2 with a 1:18.7, so dethroning Dodo. And right now, yeah, top 4 British Army, with the Air Force making up the bottom 4. So hopefully we get a bit of a mix-up as we continue. Asset's going to be pushing hard now. I know he's just invalidated previously, and with 3 minutes left on the clock, it is now or never for him. If there's another invalidation, it's not going to look good. Hopefully he can keep it on track as he's pushing now. He's gone purple through Sector 1 with a 26.1. I don't think that is actually purple, but I'm sure we'll find out as we continue. Manages to keep it on track now through Lesmo 1 and 2. He's pushing underneath the Motorola bridge, I should say. Coming up to Ascari, let's see, 52.5. No purples this time. Hopefully he can keep it up as he continues through Sector 3. I believe he's got a car behind him of Mitchell. I don't know if Mitchell's going for another lap or just a in-lap to the pits. He comes through Parabolic and now he's gone for the wider line to keep the power down. I don't know if that's going to affect him. As he cuts back in towards the pit lane, crosses the line, a 1:19.6. It's not his best performance by a long shot. Falling 2/10ths down on Rosa, and that's going to be Asset's starting position unless George, Tristan and Full Damage Queen can improve. I can't see Phoenix coming out again. An 18.1 is just ridiculous. As we follow the crowd through, we've got Dodo leading the way, followed by George and Tristan, Jack and FDQ. The 2 Aston Martins, one's on an in-lap now, unless he's fueled for 3 laps, which I would be very shocked by. We're going to see what Orthodox has got as well, as he's giving a little weave to the camera as he heads down the hill. But we'll follow on board with Dodo for the lap and see what he's got. So, starting the lap, we'll see how he shapes up through the first sector. We may jump on board with another driver as they continue if I'm seeing any timing balls come alight. So he's pushing through. Oh, bit of a snap through turn 2. Unsettling the car massively as he continues. Hopefully he can keep it on track. We'll find out. He's up, but not by much. It's only half a tenth. He's going to need a lot more than that to be anywhere near Phoenix, let alone above Mitchell. As he continues to push, manages to keep it on track through Lesmo 1 and 2. Oh, looks like we got a yellow flag at the final corner. I believe that's Asset coming into the pit lane. Wait too much about that. Yeah, as Asset pit, sadly not enough. He's just over half a tenth up now as Dodo continues to push through. Fingers crossed he can keep it on track through the final few corners and get a good lap together. And yeah, Asset crosses the line, finishing 1:19.6 in P8. As Dodo is now rounding the final corner, crosses the line with a 1:18.734, jumping him up to P2 unless Mitchell can respond. Oh, Mitchell's gone very wide there. That's not going to help his lap. Jack goes P5, George P6. So it is an Army top 4 at the moment. Don't know if anybody will be able to break into that. YB Orthodox crosses the line with a P5. So 5, 6 and 7 secured by the Royal Air Force. Never mind the top 5 all British Army drivers. Phoenix, Dodo, Mitchell, Proven and Rosa Sky set the top 5. P6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 held by the Royal Air Force, starting with Orthodox with a 1:19.1, Jack with a 1:19.1, George with a 1:19.3, Asset with a 1:19.6, Tristan with a 1:19.8, and Full Damage Queen with a 1:21.7. So that rounds out qualifying at least. So now we're going to be waiting for the drivers to get round and get ready to start the 50% race that we're running for the tester race. As I said, this is just mainly to make sure that our streams are working nicely, the format works, and the drivers are happy with how things run before we go into the main events in the later, well, next month actually, starting on the 1st of October, race 1 at Silverstone. So there we go, George BL finishing 8th. Not a good sight to see. He has been on pretty good form throughout, so there we go. Once again, a name that we're used to seeing at the top in Interservices of Phoenix with a 1:18.1. Dodo P2 in the McLaren. P3 for the British Army, Mitchell and the Williams. P4, Proven 54 in the McLaren, and P5, Rosa Sky. Rounding out the Army, 5 drivers that have joined us today. And the 6 Royal Air Force drivers taking P6, YB Orthodox, 7 Jack Lemon, 8 George BL, 9 The Asset, 10 Atomic Tristan, and 11 Full Damage Queen, rounding out the order. Not a bad showing for the first race. Hopefully get to see a mix-up with the Royal Navy joining us for the official race 1. Sadly not many available for the pre-season test, but we'll continue. So hopefully that will be... There we go. Oh, and it's looking damp. I don't know if that's just the view from the commentary box, but that is looking very, very damp. Hopefully, we don't see any rain. I'd like to not see any rain, but if we do, it would make it interesting. Especially for a first race. It's always the first race it's got to rain, isn't it? There's never any leeway. There we go. Oh, and it wouldn't be a Wrenchy stream without audio going to pot. Hopefully I've fixed that now. We'll find out soon enough. I'm just going to put out the announcement now that says all the drivers are ready to race. They'll just be setting up their cars, doing final tweaks, etc., etc., ready for the circuit. So hopefully those watching along, I know we've got a few people watching now, hopefully you're all enjoying the stream so far. It's been a very, very long time since I've done this, so I do apologise if the commentary is poor. Hopefully by race 12 I'll at least remember what I'm doing, and then we can have a good showing at least. But there we go. We're just counting down now. As you can hear the ticks. Hopefully we'll get a decent showing here. We'll see how it goes. So as the cars pull away for their formation lap now, Phoenix is going to be leading the way. Hopefully. Oh, I've just had a message saying the audio's a little bit quiet, so I'm just going to... While they're doing their formation lap, I'll fix my audio settings. There we go. Hopefully that sounds a lot better. God, professional stream here. That's all that matters. I'm sure somebody will tell me now it's too loud or something like that, but we can fix it on the fly. That's what we're here for. So, there you go, there's the strategies. Looking at a 2-stop, hard, medium, or a 3-stop, soft, hard, medium. I can't see either of those actually being the strategy. From personal experience, a hard, medium, or a medium, hard would be good choices. Someone might extend to a 1-stop, you know, that is the whole point of this race. This is going to be race 3 on the calendar, so this might be the time for experimentation from the drivers. Might be a chance to test out different setups, different driving styles, and things like that. So yeah, as we go through, we've got Phoenix and Dodo once again, top 1 and 2 for, well, since they joined in 2021, dominated 21 and 22. Sadly, 2023, 2024, we had a break from Interservices just due to the games not being stable enough, people not being available and things like that. But we're now back in 2025 and we're going to continue, hopefully, on for a long time. We've got Mitchell in P3, a new driver for the British Army, Proven P4 and Sky P5. Orthodox in 6th, Jack Lemon in 7th, very far out of position for him personally, but hopefully he can recover in the race. George 8th once again, out of position, another one out of position, Asset 90. Atomic Tristan P10 and Full Damage Queen P11. And once again, as Orthodox always does in the RAF Championships, he misses his pit box, or his starting box I should say, and gets pushed back 2 metres. But here we go, as we get ready for lights out. We're going to jump on board with Dodo for the start, as we get 3, 4, 5 lights, and to quote Crofty, it's lights out and away we go here at the pre-season test for Interservices. Oh, Dodo gets a big wobble coming down, but looks like all positions are staying the same. Asset's already trying to jump his teammate as we go to turn 1. There's been contact and a spin. Oh, wow, it's gotten messy through turn 1 as Dodo has a big spin. We'll have to look back at that, see where the contact came from. But as we continue, it looks like George BL might have made some contact with the driver as Rosa and Asset are battling for position, heading down towards the chicane. George is defending from Rosa as Asset has gone from P9 to P4 in half a lap. That doesn't say anything about how much that man has grown in his ability. I don't know what will. But as we see, we've got Orthodox, Jack, Tristan, Full Damage Queen, and sadly Dodo down in P11. As Phoenix just continues his charge. Probably going to be pulling along the rest of the Army drivers, why wouldn't you? There are 2 championships on the line this year. We've got a Drivers' Championship and what we have called the Forces Championship. So, based on sign-up numbers at the moment, it's going to be the top 5 drivers from each team are going to score points for their representative service, and then at the end we're going to have a Forces Champion, sort of a World Constructors, but including multiple teams instead. So as we continue, there's the fastest lap of 1:23.6. Bit standard, it is the first lap. We'll take a look at quick position changes. 9 positions down, 5 up for Asset, 3 up for George. It has been a great start so far as we jump on with the tyres now. Looks like Full Damage Queen and Proven have gone against the grain, with FDQ starting on the softs and Proven, as we see there, on the hards. Everyone else gone for the bog standard mediums. Jump back the order a bit, as it looks like there's a bit of a train forming behind Asset, as George, Rosa, YB Orthodox, Jack and Tristan all fight to keep up with this pack, as we've got another yellow flag. It looks like that is FDQ. Sadly, she is spun at the chicane and ended up in the wall, and it looks like she's beached on the curb. That's not going to be good. Oh no, that is not ideal from FDQ. It looks like she's stuck and is going to end up having to retire from this race, unless she can get the car moving again. Hopefully she can. And disqualified, parked in a dangerous location. It's sad to see, but if the car won't move, the car won't move. It's such a shame to see. But it looks like we're starting to settle into sort of rhythm now with Asset, the leader of one train, and Phoenix, the leader of another. As we continue down, Asset has got the entire world behind him, with George BL, Rosa, Orthodox, Jack Lemon and Tristan all DRSing their way down towards turn 1. Looks like a little move there from George. He's taking a little look at Asset, seeing if he wants to let him pass, with Rosa pressuring them from behind. But up in front, as I think the theme might be this year, Phoenix is leading the way with 2 drivers behind him. Sort of a rolling roadblock now, if you will, because if there's any hope of beating Phoenix, you've got to get past Mitchell and Proven. And there's no rule against it, so I can't see them not working together as the British Army and performing roadblocks. I mean, if Rosa can get in front of Asset, it is game over, really, for the Royal Air Force at this race. Because Rosa can hold that gap at 2.5, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. He can slow them down as much as he needs to. As long as he's doing it in a safe and not dangerous manner, there is nothing against a weirder line through corners, if you will. So there we go, as we come down the back straight, you can physically see the gap between Asset and Mitchell. Hopefully, with a bit of teamwork from the Royal Air Force, they might be able to close up to the back, but Phoenix is 1.4 seconds clear of Proven, who on paper could actually be in the fight for the win here. As he started on the hards, there was more flexibility, and he might be able to work out something, as we get a swap for position there between George and the Asset, and Proven and Mitchell. Wow, so we've had 2 swaps into turn 1 there. Rosa, YB Orthodox and Jack Lemon still fighting in the back. Tristan holding rear gunner, if you will. And Dodo experiencing, I don't know if this is the game, if he's got damage, but he is very, very far behind where he normally sits within these races. Obviously the contact lap 1 hasn't helped that, but I'm sure he can build from there. Normally we'd see him closing that gap, but it looks like that's just not the case at the moment. As Tristan's fallen out of DRS range of this train, Orthodox and Jack are pushing hard to try and get past Rosa, who is now trying to get past Asset and George, as George leads the way now towards Ascari. The gap between the 2 trains now 3.6 seconds, 3.4 seconds through there as George gets the line. Very well done. But, as expected, Phoenix has checked out now. 2.2 seconds the gap between the 2, well, between P1 and P2, as Mitchell and Proven are sort of left to fight for themselves on the podium. As we continue now, lap 5 of 27, as George and the Asset, no swaps for position yet, as it looks like Jack's just getting a bit of fresh air through. Oh, as he makes a late move up the inside of Orthodox. I don't know if that was orchestrated, if that was planned. It seemed a little bit optimistic there, but he's made it stick, and Orthodox has bowed out, which probably is the wise thing to do. But now there is a 1 second gap between Jack and Rosa. They're going to need to close that up in the next few corners, otherwise there will be no DRS and the train falls apart, and they're going to fall further and further back. So Jack's got some pushing to do, and it looks like he's sort of heard me from beyond the commentary box as he closes that gap now to 9/10 to Rosa. And once again, we continue on board with the Asset as he just follows George through, as George now sits 2.8 seconds behind the next train of cars. He gets very aggressive on the curbs for Ascari and pushes down the back straight. No DRS here, so it is all on battery and horsepower on the way down towards turn 1. He's going to be saving as much battery as he can to try and defend from the train behind him. But there seems to be 2 new names on the block from the British Army. I don't know if they'll be racing in the main season. As I said, this is pre-season testing, so we've sort of got most of the team here from the Royal Air Force with a couple of reserve drivers racing instead of the main drivers, and the same for the British Army just due to work commitments. With the Royal Navy, sadly, as I said at the start, not being able to make this. So we are sort of running on fumes for these. But hopefully next week we'll have a full grid of 18 drivers, or as close to as possible, and we'll get to see some great racing from all involved. And the gap now sitting at 3.4 seconds between George and Proven, with Rosa, Jack now closing down. He's just hovering on a second, and Dodo surprisingly got that gap down from just shy of 8 seconds to just shy of 6. So he's doing really, really well there. He's got a lot of work to do, and hopefully he can make up that ground in what is the 27 lap race around Monza. Tristan holding at 1.8 seconds back from Orthodox, who was closed down. Oh, as Jack makes an meal, I should say, of Ascari. A big issue going through that corner. I'll get my words out. Don't know what's happened there. Don't know if the tyres have gone off. I don't know what setups the guys are running this year in terms of tyre pressures and things like that. I can imagine that we're all, the Air Force is all running the sim racing centre setups as we get a change of position once again into turn 1 between Proven and Mitchell. Those two just battling out, probably a little bit too much for their liking, as Phoenix holding course at 1.7 ahead. George sitting at 3.6 seconds behind, with Asset and Rosa closing in. Asset is actually gaining on George now. Are we going to get a move into... No, we're not. I was hoping for a move into turn 4 and 5, but sadly not. Feels like Rosa is sort of pressuring them on, sort of forcing them to push harder than they should be in these tyres. With Jack managing to recover, luckily, onto the back of Orthodox once again. Tristan sitting at 1.3 seconds behind him. Dodo 6.1, sadly, due to the contact at turn 1. Hopefully get to see that contact from the guys afterwards. I'll probably have a message with them in the chat, see if we can get some video footage of that. But now, as we continue through, we'll jump on board with the main train of cars, as it looks like Asset is pressuring George to get a wiggle on as we continue through Parabolica now. Rosa sitting at 4.5 tenths back. There is a move on here if he gets the run out of this corner correct. Hopefully Asset manages to stay on the back of George. He's actually gone out of DRS. He's in DRS, but he's not sitting in the slipstream as Rosa's closing that gap. He is gaining. He's 3 tenths, 2 tenths. Not quite close enough to make a move into turn 1. And everybody else sort of filters in behind as we continue on board with Rosa going through Curva Grande now. He's going to be, it looks like he's saving battery. That might have been Asset's light going off in front. Asset getting sort of frustrated behind George as the gap now sits at 4.7 seconds to P3 on the podium. All 3 Army drivers. It's really sending a message to the Royal Air Force and Navy that this is not going to be an easy season by any stretch of the imagination. So we take a little drink break there, do apologise, and continue on the fight for what is P4 at the moment. Don't know if the pit stop's going to make any difference, don't know if the tyre strategy that's been selected by the Royal Air Force or the British Army is going to make a difference here, but hopefully we get some closer action. I mean, I say that, and then I look at the timing, and over the course of the entire field, I mean, there's one outlier, the 4.6 second gap there, caused by the turn 1 incident. But overall, everybody's staying within a second of each other, and the DRS being very powerful at keeping people in the fight as we get an early pit stop from Atomic Tristan. And by the looks of it, Dodo has followed him in as well on the mediums. So we're interested to see what they're switching on to. There's a clean stop from Tristan as he gets onto a nice set of hards, and Dodo following suit with another set of hards. So it looks like they're going to try and go long. 18 laps of this race left. 19 laps of this race left. 18 laps of this race left. Yeah, maths is not my strong point either. So it looks like they're going to try and one-stop this race now and go to the end. I'd be surprised if they come in, unless there's a late safety car, of course, that could drag them in. However, we've now got a 25-second gap between Jack and Tristan. It looks like Jack's just fallen a little bit off the pace. Might just be relaxing the tyres a bit, the dirty air being a massive factor in this year's game. I think he's just eased off a little bit, just letting the tyres come back in naturally, and there you go. Well, as I say, it happens. He's now 8 tenths, 7 tenths, almost 6 tenths off the back of Orthodox, from almost a second behind. That is an incredible reel-in, if you will. The Asset once again doing the same. It looks like the Asset is boxing. The Asset is boxing from P5 in this race. Rosa Orthodox and Jack continuing through. It's going to be interesting to see what the strategies are here. As I say, the EA approved strategy said 2-stop. But by the looks of it, the ladies and gentlemen that are behind the wheels are going for a big 1-stop as Asset leaves the pits now. Luckily, I say luckily, he is ahead of Tristan, so he hasn't been disadvantaged there. He's just got to get the tyres warm very quickly now, and we'll see if the undercut is powerful here. As Asset goes on to a set of mediums, so Asset is 2-stopping this race. He's got medium, so it looks like he's going for the medium, hard. It'll be interesting to see what other people on the track are doing, as Phoenix, does what Phoenix does best and continues at full speed, full power from P1. I don't think there'll be any stopping him, to be honest. As I said, the Royal Air Force have got some drivers, such as Nemesis, Tank. Oh, as the Asset gets a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit violations. That's not going to help on his run towards the top spot. But we get another pit stop from the front. It looks like Phoenix is coming in now, so now's a chance really for Royal Air Force drivers to continue. Rosa Sky comes in as well. This is going to be an interesting stop. Phoenix coming out on a set of hards. Rosa diving into the pit lane. Looks like a set of hards for him as well. Jack into the pit lane onto a set of hards. Orthodox also joining him on a set of hards, and it looks like a slow stop from the Army driver because he's been jumped by Jack and Orthodox. So I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if he's done a wing change or something like that, if he's been carrying damage for this entire race. That would be interesting to see. As they all come out, Asset leads the way with Jack, George, Orthodox, and Tristan has closed up and managed to jump Rosa Sky with that early stop. So the undercut is working. And it looks like Tristan's going to try and go around the outside of Orthodox as well. No, he is backed off, so it looks like he's holding station. Rosa pushing hard now to get some heat into those tyres and try and get past Tristan, because he doesn't want to be staying behind a driver that he knows he's faster than and has proved he's faster than in qualifying, because that's just going to slow him down that little bit more. Let's continue. It looks like George is continuing 10 laps on those mediums. Mitchell 6 seconds up the road from him, and Proven now leading the way. And there's no pit stop anytime soon from those guys. It looks like they're going to definitely extend to that 1-stop, as I mentioned. As I say that, George pulls into the pit lane very gently. Doesn't want to get a penalty there. 10-second time penalty in this year's game for speeding in the pit lane, as opposed to previous years that was given out 5 seconds for the same thing. As we see Phoenix cross the line now, returning to net lead of this race, with Asset following very close behind. What's the gap? As Asset takes what is not net P2 in this race. It's close, but it isn't net P2. With George in not net P3, but pitted P3. As hopefully Proven and Mitchell get this right, they should be able to feed out just between Phoenix and Asset and hold on to that Army 1, 2 and 3 podium. As Jack has closed up to George. Gap now under 1 second. As George is on cold, fresh, hard tyres. He's going to need to heat those up quick. The guys behind him pushing hard. Dodo has come from I do apologise, I've missed that completely. Dodo is now 1.7 seconds off the back of Rosa Sky. there is a chance that we could see a almighty comeback from being spun at T1, lap 1, to possibly pushing for a good haul of points. And whilst we're on the subject of points, as Mitchell pits, I should probably explain the point system. So this year, with all things sport, we've changed the points category. So we're not going to be running the standard F1 points, where in the top 10 score, we're going to be running a format that allows all 18 service drivers to score points, ranging from 36 points to 1 point, with a roughly 2-point gap per system. Alongside that, pole position will count for 3 points, and the fastest lap will count for 1 point. So hopefully, should see some interesting strategies coming ahead as we see Jack pressuring and overtaking George, now 3.8 seconds off the back of Mitchell, with Asset managing to jump. So Asset is actually now net P2, with Mitchell now P3 on paper, Jack P4. Interesting to see how the pit stops have shaped up this race, but we are going to have to see Asset come into the box again. So he is going to have to really push hard in this stint now to try and either close up to Phoenix or just make a large enough gap between himself and the rest of the field so that he can drop in nicely to continue onwards. So we'll continue on board now with Asset on his charge. Actually, we do seem to have a little battle developing between Orthodox George and Rosa, as Phoenix sets the fastest lap of 1:21.126 on a set of hard tyres. Down the back straight now, Rosa is sitting right behind Orthodox, trying to use as much of that DRS as he can. Don't know if Orthodox and George are going to swap positions. It looks like it. He's looking at the move, decides against it as Jack continues to lead that train of cars. George, Orthodox, Rosa, Tristan and Dodo now, as Dodo's making a move up the inside. A little switchback there. Just powers round the outside of Tristan to lead that battle and back up into P9, and hopefully try and catch up to the train of cars as Tristan tries to make a return fire on the outside into that corner. That is never a move that's on, especially against a driver like Dodo. He now begins the charge towards P8 of Rosa Sky, which is his teammate. I would be surprised if those two battle hard. Once again, a bit like the 3 Royal Air Force drivers in front of them, I'd be surprised if they're battling hard at all. And if there's not a case of aiding the faster driver through the field, as they have done, with Asset being now the lead RAF driver. Mitchell closing in behind at 1.5 seconds back, but Dodo has closed that gap from what was 2 seconds to 1.6 as he keeps pushing, trying to gain on Rosa. Rosa trying to keep DRS to the group in front, whilst also enabling the group, I say the group, his teammate behind to get DRS so they can continue. As we see a switch of position there between Jack and George. Don't know if that was planned or not, but George now leads the group, running P5 to P9 out of turn 1 and 2 through curve and run down towards 4 and 5. Get a nice run through there. Looks like nobody's making any major mistakes. Rosa is holding on fantastically behind in that group, just biding his time out for the right moment, as we see another potential issue for Asset, as Mitchell has closed up that gap massively from 2.3 to 0.8 seconds. They go through Ascari now. He's not going to get any DRS down this next straight, but after Parabolica this could heat up the battle there, as Jack, Orthodox, Rosa, Dodo and Tristan filter through Ascari now. We'll see who's going to come out on top in this little four-way battle. It looks like that was a call to swap positions, as George has maintained consistent pace there, with Jack not really attacking or defending, just sort of holding station. I don't know if they're going to try and swap DRS down this straight and continue to do that to hopefully close the gap, as we see a swap between Mitchell and Asset. And yep, Jack and George swap positions. Oh, big lock up there from George. I don't know if Jack's dived on the brakes a little bit early for George's liking. George has just got his braking zone wrong, but it's allowed Orthodox to close up a bit, and Rosa. The gap's still sitting at 1.8. It looks like the DRS swapping is working sort of to their advantage, as the gap is not being closed down by Dodo. But Asset now gets another 3 second time penalties. That's 6 seconds now for Asset. If he wants to win races and Interservices, he's going to have to tighten up that ability, because otherwise he's going to end up rocking up so many penalty points that he won't finish on the podium. He won't get a race win, because people like Phoenix, like Proven is showing so far, and like Mitchell has so far, do not get penalties. They don't get warnings. They are consistently fast and clinical drivers that you do not want to be making those mistakes with. And it's cost me personally, it's cost me races against drivers on this grid. As Asset gets a 10-second, it has not gone well for Asset. As I was saying, me personally, I've got penalty after penalty, and it's cost me a race win, it's cost me a podium, all because the driver behind, although slower, was more consistent. So Asset now falls to the back of the field with 10 laps to go in this race and 16 seconds of penalties, as Tristan picks up a 3-second time penalty there for multiple track limit violations. It's sad to see, really, because Asset is a very fast driver, but 16 seconds of penalties. Oh, it's big lock up there for Dodo as he's fighting the car through those corners. Don't know if we're going to see another stop. I mean, Phoenix is 6 laps in on these hard tyres. I can't see him stopping again. Mitchell the same, 4 laps in on these hard tyres. Jack, 6 laps. George, 5 laps. Orthodox, 6 laps. Rosa, 6 laps. I can't see any of them wanting to stop again. I think this is going to be a one-stop race. And Asset's sort of fallen foul of the 2-stop strategy. As we see Tristan hopefully trying to catch up to the pack, but that 3-second penalty is not going to aid in his finishing position. As we finalise the run out of the final corner, Dodo's car getting very squirrely through those corners. Don't know if the tyres are starting to go off now. I mean, 9 laps on hards, that's a very, very short amount of time for the tyres to be struggling. I don't know if it's a setup issue that he's had for this track or anything like that. We'll try and speak to some of the drivers as we filter through once again. Phoenix, yeah, I don't even need to say it. I've said it all the way through. He's 8 seconds clear. There's nothing new that's happening from his end. He's cool, calm, collected, and just cruising his way towards the pre-season victory. Mitchell sitting P2 still. Just relaxed. He's in no man's land as such. He's just got to make no mistakes. Otherwise, Jack will catch him. And Jack's sitting P3 now. So on for a podium for the Royal Air Force in this pre-season, if he doesn't have to stop again. I say if, because some have mixed it up and gone for a 2-stop in what I thought was a 1-stop race. So hopefully we see things continue in this manner, because it is mixing up as Asset gets another warning. Wow. Was that? No, it was Rosa. I do apologise. It was Rosa getting a penalty and letting Proven through there. I think it's just not gone well for him. He knows he's not in the fight now. He's just picked up another penalty. And I think he's just letting the 2 McLaren drivers of the British Army through, because he's that 3-second time penalty's put him out of the contention. Even if he does get ahead, he's got to make the gap, and it seems like those drivers are all pretty matched on pace now, as Proven comes up to the back of Orthodox. 4/10 the gap now. We'll see what the gap's like as they come towards Ascari and they get DRS. Jack is leading this charge, but I wouldn't count Proven out. He's got 8 laps to get through the field and lead his part of the Grand Prix. I can't see it being a major one if he can get through. Yeah, I can't see him catching Mitchell, but he will be podium leading, so major showcase for him, but not in the grand scheme of things, where he'd need another 8, 15 seconds, 13 seconds at least time advantage, and those mediums will die off a lot quicker than the hard runners. yeah, with 8 laps to go, I can't see any driver wanting to pit now. I'd be very shocked if someone like Jack, George, or Orthodox pits, as they can all sort of work together. But Proven has closed that gap up now massively to 4.2. Sorry, 4/10. I should say, not 4.2. 4/10, 3/10, as we get a swap of the leader of the train, with George now taking the lead again. Proven pushing, gap down to 2/10 as they come through turn 1 and 2. Sadly, not enough time, but it's allowing Dodo to close up, and he gets a great run out of turn 2. Around the outside of Orthodox, there's nothing he can do. Proven's just got more raw grip on those medium tyres as they come into the braking zone. Now Orthodox is going to try and fight it, but can't, sadly. That leaves Proven P5. Closing up on Jack now next in line, then George, and that is going to be a dogfight all the way now for the last 7 laps of this Grand Prix. But it's good to see. It's a pre-season race. This is just none of this counts towards the actual season. It's just a bit of competition, making sure my streaming works, making sure I'm competent enough to do streaming, which, with the way this has gone, not very. And they're driving like it's the final race of the season. It's good to see the competition still alive between these drivers. As Dodo stays closed up on the back of Orthodox. Ross has managed to stay with this train, and it is sad to see that he got that penalty, because he was in the fight all the way with Orthodox, Jack and George. Hopefully we'll try and get a chat with our podium sitters. We'll get each of them in one at a time, and we'll see how it goes. And we'll try and collar them before the end of the race, before they all disappear, if they want to. They don't have to. It's not obliged. There we go. Phoenix, yeah. He's checked out. It's like 2023 Max Verstappen with that. There's no need to check in on him until he wins the race. As George, Jack, and Proven gets a very slow exit through there, allowing Orthodox to close up and Dodo to close up. They are practically pushing each other through Lesmo 1 and 2. Oh, as Dodo gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit incursions as well. Yeah, that's pretty much, well, I don't want to say it sealed it, because commentator's curse could kick in, but they'd need to clear George by at least 3 seconds for those penalties not to matter. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. Asset has closed up his gap of what was 11 seconds down to 6/10, and then it's 8 seconds from him to Rosal. But as I said, 16 seconds of penalties. It's not going to be easy to overturn that. And I'll get those penalties up now. There you have 19 seconds of penalties, I should say. With Tristan Rosser and Dodo all only having 3 seconds. And there is a swap for position there, yeah. Asset has taken P9 away from Tristan, who has pitted again. Don't know if that's going to be for a fastest lap attempt. His tyres have just gone off as he switches onto a set of mediums right at the end of this race. Bit of an odd choice, as we see Proven, Jack, George. Oh, sorry, I should say George, Jack, Orthodox, Dodo as well, and Rosa, all on 10 lap plus hard tyres. Proven on 5 lap mediums. I can see him going to the end on these. To be honest, I think everybody's going to the end now. I think Tristan's just pitted sort of out of nerves. This is his first inter-service competition, so he is new to this environment. He does race obviously in the RAF League, as George picks up an uncharacteristic 3-second penalty. That is very strange once again. It seems to be, as Asset gets another 3-second time penalty. I shouldn't laugh, but Asset, no, it's all in jest. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a swap for position here between George and Jack, just to guarantee that P3 for the Royal Air Forces. There we go. As I say, it happens. George is now in full defensive mode, as Orthodox, Dodo, Rosa, and eventually Asset will close up behind. And Tristan back in a lowly P10. So all you got to do is get 75% of the way through the race and you score points in this league. And that's how we want it to run, because then it encourages competition. As we see a slow car of Asset, I don't know what's happened there. I think he's missed his braking point. Just completely misjudged it and gone through the barriers at turn 1. But now we see Jack trying to build that gap now between George and Proven. Proven is practically pushing Jack along. I'd be amazed if he goes for a move here into Ascari. Nope, just peeks the nose out, lets him know he's there, slots back in, goes through Ascari as Dodo with another time penalty. Wow, this game is really different to previous years. You wouldn't normally see drivers like Dodo, Rosa, Asset with penalties in previous titles, but now they are collecting them, if you will, as we see Orthodox trying his best to get onto the back of Proven there. He is 3/10 back, 2/10. It's going to hold at 3 as they all get DRS off of each other. George is playing the roadblock now, holding back Proven from the podium spots. He's only got 3 laps left in this race. It would be amazing to see if Proven can fight his way through. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I do apologise. If Proven can fight his way through and get ahead of George and Jack. But, as I say, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. I've just seen your message, 2DP. Yeah, Phoenix, my boy. I'll put him on screen for you. There's no real need to. He is 9 seconds clear at least, on top of everything else, and he is just battle stations calm as normal, as we've seen in previous years, as we see in every league he races in, just chilling at the front, no pressure on him at the moment. I would like to say I want to see it change, and I will say it as the biased RAF commentator. Hopefully we do see that format change and someone does bring the fight to Phoenix. But right now we're witnessing Proven, another British Army driver, trying to force his way up to the podium, getting past George, BL and Jack Lemon, both of the Royal Air Force. Sort of have created a rolling blockade as such, with George sadly getting a 3-second penalty, leaving Jack to take P3 there. Orthodox bringing up the rear of that behind Proven. P6 with Dodo, uncharacteristically in P7. He did have an incident at turn 1, lap 1, and he's sort of been clawing his way back since, picking up a few penalties sadly. And then Rosa, P8. Asset P9, multiple penalties to his name. Just not had a good race here at Monza. Tristan P10, once again, not had a good race. You've mentioned names who Phoenix has had some tight battles with. Well, one of them's myself, but that was back in 2021, so years ago, back when I actually could play a Formula 1 game. But I wouldn't be surprised if, I mean, when he first came onto the scene against Jack Lemon and George, it was a case of Phoenix would either qualify on pole, qualify second, and then from there just drive past everyone and drive off into the distance. And he's always done that, and it is good to see somebody of that level racing for the British Army. I'd love to see him in the Royal Air Force, but sadly I've got my own drivers that are at that calibre, where in our RAF League they just disappear off into the distance. Let's say Mitchell P2, Jack, holding on to that P3 now. It looks like Proven's tyres have finally lost their life, and they're sort of balancing on the cliff now, because he's fallen back from what was 3/10 to 7, almost 8/10 behind George, as George manages to hold on to that P4 position. Sadly, the 3-second penalty won't let him keep it. As we're looking at Phoenix coming towards the final lap in the race, I think we'll stay on board with Phoenix for the final lap, because why not? He's had absolutely zero coverage this race, bar the occasional flick to see if he is still pointing the same way and hasn't decided to start doing donuts or pull off for a coffee. As we start the final lap of our pre-season race, Phoenix 10.5 seconds ahead of Mitchell in P2. as he comes through turn 1. Smooth controlled braking, absolutely no lockups or anything like that, no tyre smoke, nothing. Continue on through Curva Grande now towards the second chicane, I should say. Keeps the car nice and balanced through there. Little ride of the exit curb. Coming up to Lesmo 1 now, gets the car turned in very nicely. Out onto the exit curb. Absolutely dialed in for this race, and I wouldn't be surprised if he turns up to Silverstone next week and does exactly the same thing. It is going to be a close race, hopefully, between himself and some of the Royal Air Force drivers that haven't been able to make it today. But if this is setting the precedent, then people have got a lot to live up to. Phoenix has been here before. He's done it multiple times throughout 2021 too, and the part of 2023 that we did run. As he comes around Parabolica, Phoenix once again wins an inter-service race and sets the bar high for the rest of the season. Mitchell picking up a 3-second time penalty right at the end of the race, sadly, as he crosses the line P2, and will continue down the order as Jack Lemon MD, also multiple time inter-service champion, crosses P3 with Proven P4, Orthodox P5, George P6, Dodo P7, Rosa P8, and as we wait for Asset P9 and our final driver, Atomic Tristan, coming towards Parabolica and round Parabolica now, as he comes up to cross the line P10, and sadly, Full Damage Queen we lost on lap 1 will sit P11 for this. And that is the end of the pre-season testing race. It's been a great showing from the British Army, once again coming out with 5 drivers and taking 1, 2 and 4, with the rest of the field being populated by Royal Air Force drivers. We'll go through the full standings as soon as they load and the game stops, sticking me on a permanent loading screen. There we go. As we see once again, a man that's topped a podium multiple times, countless times within Interservices, topping the podium once again. As we'll go for... There we go. We got Phoenix for the British Army P1, Mitchell P2 for the British Army, Jack Lemon MD for the Royal Air Force in P3, Proven 54 for the British Army P4, Orthodox and George BL P5 and 6 for the Royal Air Force respectively, Dodo and Rosa P7 and 8 for the British Army, P9 Asset for the Royal Air Force, P10 Tristan for the Royal Air Force, and finally P11 Full Damage Queen, sadly retiring on lap 4 for the Royal Air Force. And that is the end of the race for today. We'll hopefully be back again next week, where we can continue at race 1, round 1 of the Inter-Service Championships for Silverstone. We'll try and get the drivers in now for a little post-podium chat. I'll drop them all a message now. And yeah, that's the end of the race. It's been a great showing, to be fair, from all those involved, from the British Army side and the Royal Air Force side. It's been a very, very good battle between them all. As hopefully we should be getting Phoenix into the commentary box now. Sadly not. Hopefully for the next race we'll get them all in, and we'll see who's confident on their chances for the season championship and the Forces Championship, and go from there. But I'd like to say thank you all for joining us for the tester stream. I'm going to have to watch it back and see if it has ran well. But other than that, it's been an absolute pleasure, and we'll continue again next week with round 1 at Silverstone. Thank you so much. Goodbye.